What? Because I remember reading about Ted Bundy and his connection to California. What brought him from the West Coast to the East Coast? Do you know? I mean, what was it that
intrigued him?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, that's a long distant deal.
I can tell you what he told the officers who arrested him and interviewed him. He said that he came to Florida because, number one, he'd worn out his welcome, so to speak, in the West. And in Florida, he would be near the ocean, and he liked boats. And there would, and the Florida State University campus was a good place, he thought, where he could blend in because he thought he could pose as a college student, and he would still be close enough to the coast to be able to go out there and do whatever he did with boats. But he found something else to do other than go play with boats when he got to FSU.
Now, when you took the case over, how did they find the body? And then what was the break that gave you what you needed?
Okay. How we found the body was through a tremendous amount of searching, looking. We had teams of searchers in the field searching from basically from the day that she went missing right up to the day that she was found. And there were a number of things that contributed to the break in the case. But the final piece of the puzzle that got us back to where the body was initially discovered was a pile of cigarette butts.
A pile of cigarette butts.
This is before DNA, where you could
right
maybe lift saliva, and this is back in '78, of course.
This was at a time when all you could do was ABO typing and type blood for a few enzymes, and that was it. But one of the search parties found a pile of cigarette butts on a dirt road near the Swanee River State Park. And this pile of cigarette butts had a $5 bill on the ground with it. The theory was that, well, maybe after he committed the crime, he cleaned out the van, and this could be the pile of cigarette butts that he dumped out of the van. Obviously, the person that dumped cigarette butts was in a hurry, otherwise he would have left a $5 bill. So packaged up the cigarette butts, packaged up the $5 bill, sent it to the FDLE crime lab, and it sat there for about 2 months waiting in line with all the other stuff that was being sent in to be examined. By the time it got to being examined, found a problem. Had a problem with the cigarette butts in that they were wet. They were put in plastic rather than being allowed to dry out and then put in paper. Due to the fact they were put in plastic, they mildewed. So as far as getting fingerprints or anything of that nature off of them, there's nothing to be done.
Well, how does a case like that get put on hold? I mean, here you have a dead 12-year-old.
Well, you don't know that the things in front of them weren't murder cases or dead cases around the state either.
But there's so many labs, and I mean, it's not just.
Well, the thing, it was in line behind a tremendous amount of other items of evidence that were submitted in connection with the same case.
Right.
Okay. Things like broken tree limbs, handfuls of sand, underwear found in the woods, all kinds of things. They find it and may have something to do with the case. You ship it off.
Sure.
And the lab takes them as they come, works with them, tries to do whatever it can with them, and 99% of what was submitted to the lab was junk. But we didn't know that at the time that we were collecting those items. We were just hoping that something would come of it. But anyhow, the analyst looked at the cigarette butts and thought that he could do something with them. He went to cigarette butts that were found in the van when it was recovered and compared them to the butts that were found on the ground. And due to the way that the cigarette butts were smoked, due to the way that they were bitten, due to the way that they were stubbed out, he ventured the opinion that the same person smoked both piles of cigarette butts. So he sent us back to that area, and the next day found the body.